After a break of almost 10 years, Sharrow, Worlow and Shefrek are back in the HighPeak with the Chelmorton Flag of Monash Mass Start TLI Road Race. It's event organiser Peter Dungworth's job to prepare the course, which starts just outside Flag Village, then undulates gently downhill to Monash before climbing smartly up to Red House and then turning back across the moor to where it began. This race takes place over 5 3/4 laps, that's 67k, and it's attracted over 50 riders who have already been sorted into 3 groups for the handicap start. First off are the long markers, and the names to look out for are Pete Riles, Phil Axe, Mick Rosen, John Hind, Neil Proctor, Peter Middleton and Ian Dutton. Looks all pretty leisurely so far, Peter.
Well, you see, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint this is 42 miles long, it's 2 hours worth of riding. This is going to be a very, very tough circuit. The riders, they've been warned, these are country roads. This is what racing in the HighPeak is about. It's not about motorways, it's about country roads. The farmers are doing what farmers do, they're sort of baling hay at the moment, but the traffic is very small really. Now flattens out and they'll start to change down a gear, and this is when the racing will really start here on the first lap. Because they're coming up to what is a 90-degree turn, so there'll be anchors on here. They'll go round here at no more than 5-10 miles an hour. This is a very slow corner. This will be the fastest descent on the course because you're out of Flag, you're away from civilization as it were, you've got empty roads. When the pressure's on, they'll be strung out in a long snake line.
Thanks Peter, and we'll be back to hear about the rest of the course after the middle markers get started. And the names to look out for in this group are Mike Hutton, Andy Prince, Craig Breeze, Tom Sutton, James Hunt and Andy Ellis. By now the long markers are a third of the way round the loop, approaching Monash.
Now we'll have some marshals down here because the sharp left-hand turn onto Horse Lane. So this is the long climb. This will be, about 1.5 miles maybe. It's very narrow. It's not smooth, it's not billiard table top. It's soggy, you've really got to try hard coming up here. Going up Horse Lane, riders will attack. Individual riders will try and get off the front and they'll try and get a group of people working together. Average speed will be about 23 miles an hour throughout the whole circuit. Top speed 30, 35, 40s. The finish is about as far now as you can see that. There's a lay-by on your left.
And just before the long markers get to this spot for the very first time, the scratch group are just about to set off. They're 11 minutes behind the leaders and 5 minutes behind the middle markers. From this group you'll need to keep a sharp eye out for Dan Story, Simon Keaton, James Thompson and Tim Rosen. So with half a lap or so to make up, this elite group was off to a pretty brisk start. And slowly but surely they closed the gap on leaders Peter Middleton and Ian Dutton, who led a breakaway on lap 2 but soon threw off their rivals, so that at the start of lap 4 it was just the pair of them who were way out front, 1.5 minutes ahead of the Group 1 pack. But they were only 4.5 minutes ahead of a chasing trio from the scratch group, who were closing in at a rate of 2 minutes a lap. And here they are cruising downhill to the Monash corner, where we can get a better view of Simon Keaton, James Thompson and Dan Story. A few minutes earlier the leaders were powering up Horse Lane. This road's got the sort of gradient profile that sorts the men from the boys, and by the time they got to the summit, the chasing trio were another 10 seconds closer to the front. 12 minutes later, a third of the way round lap 5 and the start of the long descent into Monash. This pack of long and middle markers have lost 30 seconds on the leaders during the previous lap, They're now 2:10 behind Middleton and Dutton, and it looks like they're about to be caught by the chasing trio from the Scratch group. This gap's only 25 seconds. So let's check those split times as the three contending groups go through Monash. The pack are now 2 minutes 19 behind the leaders, and the trio, who are temporarily a quartet as they pass a straggler, are only 2:40 off the lead. A mile further on, Middleton and Dutton are still neck and neck as they climb up to Red House. And by the way, the rider behind them isn't in the race, but these are. Keaton, Thompson and Story have just got to the front of the pack, and now the only thing between them and the leaders is 2 minutes 10 seconds, and there's just over 1 lap remaining. Hubbardale Crossroads, 1k past the finish line, and with the Scratch trio setting the pace, the pack are now only 1:28 behind the leaders. Middleton and Dutton looking in complete control of the race as they pass the S-bend for the last time. But now, with Dan Story fronting the attack, the lead has dropped to under a minute. Dykehead Farm is on the long downhill stretch to Monash, where the descent averages 1 in 50. And in the 2.4k since the S-bend, Story has closed the gap to 18 seconds, and the pack are still with him. The Monash turn, and there's still clear air between the leaders and the chasers, but Story's dropped back into the pack since we saw him last. Well, this view from the end of Horse Lane shows just how close the leading groups are. Dutton's pulling away from Middleton, and with 1.5k to go, Story's in third place at the head of the pack, but he's now breaking away. Just look at that pedal power. Thompson's in fourth place. Less than 1k to go, and Dutton's still out on his own. Now our camera's got stuck, but Story's caught up with Middleton, and the pack are 50 metres or so behind. Now approaching the line, Ian Dutton, yes, he's done the necessary. But second and third are still in dispute, and Dan Story steals second place by a length from Pete Middleton. Craig Breeze is storming in fourth place. And Andy Prince made fifth, just a length ahead of Mike Hutton. Well, all the stats so far have been unofficial figures from our roadside cameras. So now it's time to go down to Chelmorton Institute for the official results of the 2010 Chelmorton Flag and Monash TLI Road Race.
Fifth place, we've got Andrew Prince from Line Racing. Fourth, we've got Craig Breeze from Stafford Road Club. Third, we've got Peter Middleton from Zetnell. Second overall was the Dan Story from Sheffield TC. The overall winner in first place, we got Ian Dutton from TLI.